What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. It's now time for some positive lawn content.
I don't understand you people.
So really, I'm just gonna take you through my week this week and show you a few things that I did. I'll go ahead and put timestamps below in case you're somebody that wants to skip ahead and see what's in this video and decide what's gonna work best for you. But my week actually started out on Tuesday, as far as lawn work goes, with a glorious mow. Let me just interrupt here real quick. One thing that I had to do though was I had to go and change the blade on my bladed edger. I don't know if some of you guys have noticed, I've actually been doing a lot of string trim edging most of the summer here. That's really just because I'm lazy. It's just easier just to flip it around and go. But the string trimmer I've been using only takes the thinner line, and I figured this would be a good chance for me to show you that. When you're buying a trimmer, look at what thickness of line it takes. I recommend that it take at least the 0.095 thousandths of an inch or 95 thousandths of an inch string. You can see here the differences in the thicknesses. The one I've been using only takes that 0.80, and I can tell you it's just not enough to rip through and give you a really good edge, and I've seen that now that I've gotten lazy. So went back to the blade edger, had a lot of cleanup to do there, but got that all out of the way, and then I went and enjoyed the mow. Another thing I was due for was a blade sharpening on the Super Recycler. I try to sharpen at least once a month. And what I did was I took some advice from you guys. I actually put up a video a couple months ago talking about how I sharpen my mower blades, and I was using a metal grinding wheel through all that, and it worked fine. But a lot of you, when I made that video, had said, hey, you should try a flap disc. So I did that, and I used a 60 grit, and I will tell you, you guys were right. That is actually a much more enjoyable experience. Even though I'm fine with the metal grinding blade, I can do fine. That flap disc, it's buttery smooth. The way that it contacts the metal is a little bit different. The feeling of it, I don't know how to say that, but it translates into being able to control it better. So long and the short of it, those of you guys who had recommended the flap disc, thank you. That is where I'll be going from now on when I sharpen my blades. And speaking of positive lawn content, and especially within our lawn care community, I actually wanted to give a shout out to a couple folks. A couple of weeks ago, I actually went up to Northwest Indiana to help Jake the Lawn Kid install some new sod at his house. I'll link up there and in the description to his video because he got the Scott's ProVista Kentucky Bluegrass in sod form, glyphosate tolerant, deeper, darker blue-green color, and it's a slower grower. Tee-hee-hee. So that's something that a lot of you might want to check out. But also, when I went up there, we had a couple other folks that took time out of their day and came over and helped. Andy Boyd, the lawn father, thanks Andy, came and put in work. Thanks, man. Really appreciate you coming out, as well as Eric from Irrigreen. If you don't know what Irrigreen is, I'll link to Justin's video up there and down below. It's this really cool sprinkler head now that works on the cloud, and it actually can shoot out farther and closer around obstacles and things like that. It's really cool if you're somebody that really likes to dial in your irrigation. Irrigreen is something you should check out. So Eric, who is the vice admiral of that or something. Anyway, Eric came over and put in work with us. Thank you so much, Eric, for that. That's awesome, man. It means a lot. And then two of our lawn care nut friends, Colin Snyder and Luke Scott from Indiana. Both of those guys came over and put in work and helped us out. Thank you so much. It really just shows how awesome this community is. It really just shows how awesome you guys are for taking time to help us to get this sod installed. We couldn't have done it without you, so thank you. All right, and then probably what's becoming my favorite day of the year, October 1st came just a couple days ago. The reason October 1st is so important for me and a lot of us here in Florida is our nitrogen and phosphorus bans in. We have nitrogen and phosphorus bans in the summer due to runoff that can contribute to red tide. It's in a lot of counties in Florida, but that ends October 1st and we can start throwing down again. So I pretty much put it everywhere. I hit flagship everywhere. And the reason I chose flagship is because I want to put my lawn and all the lawns under my care on the chit nitrogen train. Now, most of you warm season folks, you're not gonna be using Flagship right now. You're gonna be dialing it back, less in, higher potash, okay? But down here in South Florida, we don't go to bed. We are year round, as well as I haven't had nitrogen in several months. So it's only 0.7 pounds of nitrogen. I know I talk about Flagship and chit chit and all this and push it and hammer it and all. It's only 3/4 pound of nitrogen. And that's the funny thing about it, is you get massive results just from that small amount of nitrogen. In fact, subscribe here, hit that like button there, and you can come back next week and see the difference in my lawn and all the lawns that are under my care. But what you can see here is what it did to our project lawn in Fargo, North Dakota. This is 9 days after an application. It was looking great before, nice green color, and then it just went super dark after the Flagship. I'll link that below if you want to pick some up, because the visual results cannot be denied. Next, let's talk about weed control real quick for warm season lawns. You know, we're out of the rainy season now. It's also cooler. So what that does is the cooler temps open up some different weed controls that you weren't able to use in the summer because of the heat restrictions. Now we can open up a few. So let me just give you a couple ideas of what you might want to look at for weed control as we move here into the fall and even down into the winter for warm season turf. All right, so for weed controls, these are the primary ones you've seen me using over the years. If you're brand new, this is what you want. Now this has an 85-degree temperature restriction, but we're okay now because we're getting cooler. This is gonna wipe out really the largest percentage of weeds you're gonna see in warm season turf. So this is where I recommend you go if you're brand new. This is an excellent option for us. Now Celsius is what I use tried and true all summer. If you have this, it works great. This doesn't have a temperature restriction on it, which is why you can use it in the summer. However, it's slow, and it also doesn't get sedges, so you have to spike it with something like this, Halosulfuron here. So this is a great option if you still have it, if you've already invested in this bottle. No temp restrictions, stay with it. It does need a surfactant. I'm going to blindside right now because I want some really fast knockdown, and that's what this will do. This also will get sedges, which is a nice thing. I'm mainly facing doveweed, believe it or not, and then I also have some sedges I'm fighting, as well as, let me show you what it did to dayflower in just 2 days. So there you go. Just remember, this does have a heat restriction. You can use a surfactant with this, but it tells you on the label that you should expect some residual damage, possibly, if that's the case, especially in higher humidity. So I did not use a surfactant, but there you go. Some options for warm season weed control here as we move into the fall time. Okay, last thing I want to do is give you guys an update on the MegMo blade. If you haven't seen that video, it's from last week. Got a lot of really good comments from you guys, a lot of questions. I actually was able to talk to the folks at MegMo this week, and here is what I found out. The first thing is, there are no MegMo blades available for a mower that doesn't have a clutch. So if you're somebody that has to crank your mower and the blade and the motor start up all at the same time, that means you don't have a clutch. However, if you have something like spin stop or blade stop on your mower, or pretty much all zero turns or riding mowers, or really mowers that have multiple blades underneath, they're gonna have a clutch, because you'll use either a pull start or an electric start to start the motor, and then from there you will engage the blade, and that is because you have a clutch that does that for you. That is the only mowers that can have a MegMo. They cannot have a MegMo on something, like I said, that has a pull start for everything. It's something to do with the startup RPMs or the startup power that's needed and the gearing in that rope. So I don't understand all of it, but I just want to say, so basically the only way you could get one for a super recycler is if you had blade stop or spin stop, then you could. Now, the other thing a lot of folks had asked about the Time Master. The Time Master does have spin stop, blade stop, so yes, but I don't know. One thing I didn't know is that the Time Master has overlaps on the blades. I knew they were offset, but I didn't know that if they were together that they would meet, but I think some people are saying they are. So I've got that question out to the MegMo folks still to see if it's possible to have one of those blades for a Time Master. The other question people had was about sharpening, and really I didn't do it. I'll do it sometime in a video coming up, but it's not that difficult to take that MegMo off of there and put that in a vise and get it sharpened. However, if you're somebody that has one of these all-American sharpeners or one of those types of things, a machine like that, that's not gonna work. So there probably is some pros and cons, or cons to the fact that it is a little bit more difficult to sharpen than a traditional rotary mower blade. And with that, I did test it out at the Freedom Factory on some thicker grass, so I'm gonna leave you with that. Check it out there. You'll be able to see the results that I got out there, and I can tell you the results are very similar to what I got at the church. I'm really, really happy with what I see. So here's MegMo on super thick St. Augustine grass. I hope to see you guys next week, and I'll see you in the lawn. Okay, here I am out at the Freedom Factory over by there. And this is gonna be the best test for these blades, these MegMo blades. Can you see them under there? So when I tested it last time, it was on Zoysia cut very low, and I loved what I got the cut. But this stuff, this is thick, look. Look at those fatties. So this is gonna be a good test. You can hear it, listen. See, so that's a good test. Man, it's beautiful though. Look at that. How can you not love the beautiful chubby St. Augustine? How could you not love that? It's so beautiful. Okay, let me just show you. Let me just take a look. Here we go. We're gonna run right down it. That's some weeds sticking up there. I've noticed that too. Thin, wispy weeds. There will be some left. But look at the grass. So you can decide what you think. You can see I wasn't going super fast, but I wasn't going slow either. To me, it is a cleaner cut. Obviously, there's a couple things left here and there, and like I said, the weeds, it doesn't always cut weeds so well, I noticed, but other than that, I definitely think it has a better cut. I would say noticeably better than the stock blades.